everybody, and welcome to the Tabletop Inn. Join me at the tavern table while I do a quick overview on Mystic Vale Essential Edition. Mystic Vale Essential Edition was designed by John D. Clare and published by AEG Games. In Mystic Vale, you are playing as a group of druids that are attempting to cleanse or restore a land that has been cursed by war, malice, things like that. You're doing that by recruiting different creatures, different spirits into your deck, and then playing them into your fields. This game is a 2 to 4 player game, if I haven't mentioned that already. And what really caught my eyes, not only is it deck building, which is a pretty good favorite of mine. I like deck building a lot, but it's also card crafting. What I mean by that is the cards that you get in the starting decks for the different druids. The starting decks are all similar. We'll get into that in a moment, but they're all sleeved. And what you'll do is you'll be picking up cards from the common field, and you'll be placing them over these cards into the sleeves, and you'll be adding different things to those cards. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the overhead cam, and I'll show you exactly how this works. So I've got the game all set up for a 3-player game in preparation for our game night that we're going to have soon. Mainly, the main differences between different player counts are the amount of victory points that are available throughout the game, and the amount of level 1 advancements that are in this deck. In a 2-player game, there are 12 level 1 advancements available. In a 3-player game, there are 15, which is what are currently out right now. And then in a 4-player game, there are 18 level 1 advancements available. In a 2-player game, there are 23 victory points available to get. In a 3-player game, there are 28 victory points. And in a 4-player game, there are 33 victory points. Basically, you are playing to gain the most victory points in the game. That is also the end game trigger. Whenever this pool of victory points is no longer available, that is when the end of the game starts. The player that triggered the end of the game will not have another turn. Everyone else will have one more turn to play, and then after that, they will count up the however many victory points they have between the tokens that they've gotten and the veils, and some of these advancements also have victory points. They'll basically count all those up, and whoever has the most victory points is the winner. So on your turn, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be basically planting your fields. Now what that means is you're going to take your deck of cards. Here we've got the Waveguard deck here. The reds are the Beast Brothers, the yellow is the Dawn Seekers, and the green deck is the Life Warden. We're going to set these all off to the side. They're all similar decks aside from their colors, obviously. So again, on your turn, you're going to take these cards, and first you're going to flip over the top card. Now what you're looking for here, we've actually got a really good example. This cursed land here has both a mana symbol, which is basically your money that you're able to spend for a round, and you've also got a spoil symbol. So what you're doing is you're going to flip over this top card, and then you're going to place it onto your field. Flip over another card. Now this card is a blank card. It means nothing, but it's still going to go onto your field. Then you're going to keep doing this process until you are seeing 3 spoil symbols combined from your fields and your on deck. Being on top of the deck means it's on deck. What that means is this does go towards your spoil count, which we've got right here. We now have 3 spoil symbols from our fields and on deck, but this mana symbol that's on the on deck, this is another cursed land card, that is not available for us to use. So during your planting, that's your initial start of the planting phase. Now what you can do is you can push your luck. You can say, okay, I want to bring this card onto my field because I want that extra mana to spend. So now I've got 3 instead of just 2. So you can do that, move it onto your field, then you flip over this on deck card. That one's blank, so we're going to keep going until we find another spoil symbol. This would have been a good round for us. Here we go, though. Okay, so now we have 4 spoil symbols combined from our field and our on deck. Whenever you hit 4 spoil symbols during your planting phase, you have spoiled, and you forfeit the rest of your turn. You basically put everything here into a discard pile, and you go back to the next player takes their turn after that. So let's say we didn't push our luck this far. So we'll flip this back over. We'll put this fertile soil back onto the top of our deck. So now we have 3 mana symbols to use. We have 2 from Cursed Lands and 1 from this fertile soil card. So what that means is we've actually got 4. Sorry, there was one hidden underneath here during all this hodgepodge. So we have 4 mana available to spend. So we take a look at the advancements available here, and we see what all we can buy. Down here, we've got some, we've got podlings, which cost 2 mana. You can see in the upper right corner. their cost. That also shows the level indicated by the little dot there. In the bottom, we've got a little victory point symbol here. This is victory points towards the end of the game, the gray shield looking thing. We've also got a helmet icon. We can talk about that in a moment. And then we have a spirit symbol, this one being yellow. We can also talk about those in a moment. So that costs 2. We've got a seedling, which basically cancels out any spoil symbol down to 1. So we can say if focus. There we go. So let's say this cursed land had another card on it that had another spoil symbol. If we were to slide this card into its sleeve, we'll get to that in a moment, it would cancel out one of those spoil symbols to make it to where instead of having 2 spoil symbols on there, it's just 1. So very nice to have. Anything that cancels out your spoil symbols is always good. And then the last level 1 advancement we have out there is a wayfinder, which I actually didn't recognize off the top immediately, excuse me. You can see this one costs, focus. This one costs, well, it costs 4. There it goes. Costs 4. It does give us 1 victory point at the end, and it gives us a beast spirit icon as well as a mana icon. So the fact, since we have 4 mana available, and this would actually be a fairly good example to do, let's go ahead and buy this level 1 advancement. So we're using all of our 4 symbols on the field, and let's decide to put this wayfinder onto this cursed land card. So as you can see, these cards are all sleeved. So what you do is you take the card you just bought and you slide it over top of the original card into the sleeve. Now you have both the cursed land and the wayfinder on this card. So when this card is played again, instead of just having the 1 mana to spend, now you have 2 and you have a beast spirit icon to use. Again, we'll get to those beast spirit icons in a moment. So that's you, after you've taken your planting phase and you decide you're ready to go, now you're into that harvest phase. That's you picking up a card from this common area. That's the harvest phase. After you've done that, you go into the cleanup phase, where you're basically just taking all of your cards and putting them into a discard pile. And this is when you pull out your next set of field cards all the way until you have the 3 spoil symbols, showing again. So in this case, we're getting, there we go. So now you're set up for the next turn. This is going on while the next player is doing their planting phase. So it's kind of a quick way to keep the game going. So we take a look at the level 1 advancements. The level 2 advancements are a little more powerful, but obviously they cost a little bit more. This bear totem costs 6 mana, but he gives you a regrowth icon and a beast spirit icon. What this regrowth does is in the event, let's say that I had this bear totem on this cursed land card slid in just like this. So now this growth icon is actually canceling out this decay icon. So now, for example, let's say this bear icon was in our field when we flipped it over. Technically, we only have 2 decay icons showing because this growth icon is canceling out the one on this card. And this actually goes for across the board. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on this card. If this icon is out, it will cancel one of these decay icons. So anyway, that's the bear totem, which is again one of the level 2 advancements that are out. We've also got Druid's Song, which gives us a wild spirit token, meaning that this can be used to cover the cost of any of these veils that require any spirit tokens that you don't have. Again, we'll get to buying veils in a moment, but just know that this little purple swirly symbol is a wild spirit token. And then we've got the Mindful Owl. The Mindful Owl costs 6, and you can see along the kind of left side, along the length of the card, we've got some text. It says, when played, you may discard any other card in your field. So let's say you've got a card that's really restricting you. It's got way too many spoil icons on it, and you want to get it out so you can maybe press your luck a little bit. When this card comes onto your field, you can discard that card that's causing you trouble with the spoil icons. This Mindful Owl also gives you 2 mana tokens to spend when it's played onto your field. So a very nice card. So those are some of the level 2 advancements. You'll notice that each one has its own level on each card. You can see that the Druid Song is in the middle. All these level 1 advancements are on the bottom, and the Mindful Owl is on the top. That basically means it's showing you where it can be placed on your card. So for example, on this Cursed Land, we could not use this Podlings card on this Cursed Lands card, because when we slide it in, you'll see that it covers up that cursed land, and you are not able to do that. The only time you are able to cover up anything that are on your cards are cards with this middle ribbon showing here, showing the text. As long as the card is not on a different level than the one you're trying to place, you can cover up this text. However, when you do that, you lose this ability and you gain whatever is covering it up. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Level 3 advancements are obviously the really powerful cards that you want. You've got the Aurora card here, which costs a whopping 10 mana, and you can see it's a level 3 card by the 3 dots. It gives you 2 victory points at the end of the game, and when you harvest being when you're going to pick up cards from the common area, you gain a victory point for every 2 cards on your field. So let's say this Aurora card was in this sleeve right here by itself. So now we are getting a victory point for every 2 cards, so we would gain 2 victory points. We would not, again, count the on-deck card here that is not currently in our field. So Aurora card's very nice. That's why it costs so much. I believe it is probably the most powerful card in the game. So that's the Aurora card. Then we've got the Dreadcoil Cobra. He costs 7 mana and gives you 2 victory points at the end. He has the little helmet icon here. And then he also gives you 4 victory points, and he also has a decay symbol. So none of these cards here talk about what happens if you have the helmet symbol. I believe this one does, though. So this one, the Feral Chieftain, costs 5, and he has a level 2 advancement. His ability is when we harvest, we gain 1 victory point for each helmet symbol that's on this card. So for example, if we had, let's see if we can find a power combo here. We can't, but that's okay. Not really a big deal. So let's say this Feral Chieftain and his Podlings were on the same card. You see this Podlings has the helmet symbol. Now this Chieftain, whenever we go to harvest, we would gain 1 victory point because we've got the 2 helmets, excuse me. We gain 2 victory points because there are 2 helmets on this card. So very nice, good combo to have. So it's, again, just important to make sure you're managing what you're putting onto your card, because, again, you cannot cover those up. Once those spots are taken, you cannot just take them out or cover them up with a different card. They're like that for the rest of the game. So that's essentially kind of a high overview of a turn. To recap, you are pushing your luck by pushing your cards onto your fields and hoping you don't get more than 4 spoil icons showing across your field and your on-deck card. Once you've done that, you are buying advancements to add to your cards. The last thing you can do during your harvest phase, excuse me, I didn't meant to go over this. I keep saying I did, and I forgot. Veil cards. Veil cards are a huge way to gain victory points. To buy a Veil card, you need the spirit icons in your field shown in the upper right corner of these cards. In this case, to purchase the World Tree, we would need to have the green icon and the beast icon. Don't remember the green icon's card, I apologize. When you buy it, this goes separate from your field. So it just goes below or above your field, depending on where you want it, doesn't really matter. And at the end of the game, it will be worth 2 victory points, this World Tree will be. So again, you have to have these symbols on your field to purchase these Veil cards. This goes across the board. We have a Wellspring Glade that is worth 7 victory points, but it needs the 2 green spirit tokens, the yellow spirit tokens, 2 of them, and 2 beast spirit tokens, excuse me. Some of these Veils don't offer victory points, but they add certain powers. The Sunstone Heir, for example, costs a beast icon and a yellow icon, but its ability is when you're going into a harvest, once per turn, you may spend 2 mana to use any beast, green, yellow, use any icon, basically any spirit icon as 1 wild icon. So let's say you are missing the yellow icon here for the next Sunstone Heir, but you have a green one. You can spend 2 of your mana to basically switch that green to a wild, meaning you can cover the cost of that yellow spirit card there. So Veils are an awesome way to gain victory points as well. The Verdant Valley there is worth 6 at the end. Huge points. So basically you're trying to manage both getting these cards, these advancements to upgrade your fields, but you're also wanting to grab those Veils as well. So again, that can happen during the harvest phase, is picking up these Veils. And then again, after you're done with the harvest phase, you clean up while the next player is doing their press your luck portion of their turn. So it's a fairly high overview. I forgot to mention, if you were to spoil, you have these tokens at the start of the game. Initially they're flipped upside down like this. If you were to spoil, again, you discard all your cards, but then you flip this icon over to show you actually have an extra mana to use on your next turn. So it's really not all bad to spoil sometimes. If you are, wanting to ensure you've got the extra mana to use next time, you can just spoil on purpose. Or there's going to be times where you just get really unlucky with your card roll or your card draw, and you really don't have enough mana to spend on anything. So it's not going to hurt you to press your luck, because even if you do spoil, you'll at least have that extra mana to use on the next turn. The only thing that I don't think I covered are the Fertile Soil cards, which is off to the side here. They're their own deck. They all cost 2 each. And if you don't like any of these advancements on here, or if you're in a position where you can't afford them, you can always buy a Fertile Soil card, which is basically just 1 mana added to any of these cards. I believe there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 available in each level of the card. Once these are gone, they're out. So keep that in mind, but again, that's also a really great way to generate some mana early in the game. Once any of these cards are taken from the common area, they're simply redrawn and replaced from these decks here. So I believe I covered everything, a very high overview of the game. Why don't I go ahead and sit back down, and I'll give you my initial thoughts on the game. So that was a very high overview of Mystic Vale Essential Edition. I don't think I mentioned that the Essential Edition comes with 3 other expansions that I did not cover in this. Mainly because there's already quite a bit going on in the base game, and I want to obviously get a few plays under my belt for the base game before I even think about looking at the expansions. Looking at the insert of the box, though, I didn't get a chance to look at because I have the game all set up. The insert is awesome. It's really good. It fits everything perfectly. The player mat is actually a neoprene mat, which I thought was really nice. The mat just rolls up into the side of the insert, and I thought that was a great touch. I was hoping that it wasn't a board, just like a cardboard one, because I knew I had seen the playmat was really long, so I thought, man, that thing's going to be huge. I wasn't sure what to expect. I hadn't done a whole lot of searching into the game. I just saw that it was card crafting, it was deck building, deck building being one of our favorite genres. I think we really love Dominion. I love Dominion anyway. So the fact that I was building card crafting and deck building really caught my interest. Now I'm looking at this neoprene mat. It's a glorious idea, and I actually wouldn't mind if other games started to do that with their boards versus just using cardboard, because I think those neoprene mats will actually stand up to a little more damage than those cardboard boards will. If you accidentally have your finger in there when you're trying to bend your board back into place and you just don't get it out fast enough, you can peel it. Unfortunately, I've had that happen with our viticulture board, our Tuscany board. It's got a little bit of a tear because I just didn't move my finger out of the way. So I thought the neoprene mat was a really, really cool touch. I love the artwork on both the box and the cards. They look really fantastic. Fantasy theme is always going to hook me really, really hard. And I mean, this is fantasy to a T. You're a team of druids and you're equipping people like the Mindful Owl. You're getting veils like the Sunstone Heir with a friggin' hippogriff on it, or griffin, whatever you want to call it. Harry Potter nerd, leave me alone. It's just amazing. And these cardboard components, these tokens, they don't feel bad. They punched out really, really easy. I didn't really have any issues with them tearing like I do with other punch outs. And I really like the fact that the cards are clear. Obviously, they need to be to have the card crafting element, but it's just really, really well done. Sliding those cards into the sleeve. I was thinking that the clear plastic would still kind of smudge out whatever's beneath it, and they really don't. Keep in mind on these two, I do have the plastic film that they come with still on there. The game actually recommends that you can go through a couple of plays to get that film to start to peel a little bit, and then you can just peel them off a lot easier than if you would just trying to pick at it and potentially tearing up the cards. One potential gripe I could see with the game, and again, this is just going to have to be, we're going to have to play it to see. I could potentially see someone doing kind of like a card counting sort of thing, where if they know they've got one really beefy card, they can obviously just feel their deck and say, okay, this is the card that has 3 cards in it. Obviously they're going to want that on their field. So if they're doing that press of luck, I'm like, okay, I'm probably fine here. So I could kind of see that, but obviously they're still risking the spoil because they got to flip over that on deck card, and that on deck card could be the one that spoils them. So it depends. I could see it being a problem, but I don't think it will be. And if it does turn into a problem, then we'll probably just implement a house rule that if you're gonna go push your luck, if you touch your deck, you have to put it onto your field. You know, it's one of those things, kind of like an honor system, kind of like in chess. When you move your piece and take your hand off it, that's it. So if you go to touch your deck, you're pushing your luck no matter what. That could be the simple fix if it's even a problem. Again, I don't think it will, because you got that on deck card that could really screw you up. Overall, I really like the game. I've actually been playing the mobile version of this, which is $6 on the Google Play Store. I'm not sure if it's on Apple or not. If it is, it's most likely still $6. And it does a really great job of just going through the exact game, takes you through all the tutorials so you can learn everything. That's actually how I've been learning this game. But again, if I made any mistakes, I've looked through the rulebook a couple of times. Obviously, I'll learn more as we play the game, both on the mobile and in real life. But if I made any mistakes and I catch them, I'll post them in the comments. If you catch any mistakes I made, let me know in the comments, and I'll probably pin the comment or I'll fix it somehow. But again, this was just a really high overview, sort of a first look-ish at Mystic Vale Essential Edition. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like to let me know. If there's anything I could have done better, please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed your stay at the Tabletop Inn, and we'll see you next time. Take care.